So, welcome everyone. Welcome to Ingram Micro Podcast as GITEX 2023.
Thank you very
This
much.
is your host, Midun Raj, technical consultant for cybersecurity at Ingram Micro, and I have a very special guest with me, someone who has been mentoring me for a quite long time right now, and someone with whom every conversation is not just related to technical, but we always divert something personal, traveling, and even spirituality to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
So it's always great talking to you. And to quickly introduce you, I have Vishal Pala, senior pre-sales engineer for Barracuda for entire Middle East and Africa, right?
Middle East, Turkey, and Africa. Yeah.
Great. So Vishal, partners, distributor, many of our customers know Barracuda as an email security solution. Barracuda has made a very good name when it comes to email security.
Right.
One of the solutions that they prefer whenever they talk about email security is Barracuda. But as I understand, right, communicating with you in the long few months, right, Barracuda is more than that. So my first question would be how you would define Barracuda, what they basically do, why a customer should look more than email security inside Barracuda.
Sure. So, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me today. And as you mentioned, my name is Vishal, and I'm senior sales engineer in Barracuda, taking care of Middle East, Turkey, and Africa. So, basically, when we talk about Barracuda, since we opened our door back in 2003, our objective or the vision has been to, protect emails, applications, networks, and people of the organizations. So when we talk about the portfolio which we carry as Barracuda, as a cybersecurity organization, so majorly we are operating into 4 different segments. Of course, email is something which we have started with back in 2003, and we have extensive experience when it comes to email security. But on top of that, we have mastered many other technologies and many other solutions in terms of application security, in terms of the network security, in terms of the data protection as well, because that's the last line of defense for any customer. So, as an organization, we are majorly, as I said, operating into 4 segments: email security, application security, network security, and data protection. And whatever solutions which you are providing to the customers. As a matter of fact, when I say customers, we are serving somewhere around 200,000 plus customers as of today.
Nice.
So it's a pretty,
Vast
customer base which we have across all the segments which we are operating in. And I would say that when it comes to email security, when it comes to application security, we are of course leaders into that. We do things a bit differently. So there are many other vendors out there in the market. We always admire our competition, but we have our own strengths as well,
Sure.
So email, all in all, as I said, we do provide protection for email, applications, network, and we also secure people of the organization with our email security
That is
solution.
the overall goal. What
Absolutely.
we are trying to do is to give our customers and their employees a safe environment
Absolutely.
where they can grow and give their full potential, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you said something very interesting, right? Most of the time, whenever a customer is discussing about security is a vast domain. Majority of that conversation is taken by endpoint security, network security, sometimes data security, right? But very few customers talk about application security, and more specifically about WAF or WAP, right? They don't talk about it. So can you elaborate us why WAF and why Barracuda WAF?
Sure. So when we talk about application security, and speaking from the experience, I mean, majority of the times when we speak to our customers and when we discuss about application security, we have seen that there is a misunderstanding of understanding the application security, or the need of understanding of application security, because let's say if we speak to the customer and they say that, okay, we have a network firewall which is like a next generation network firewall, or maybe application aware firewall, and it is something which is sufficient to take care of the application security, which is probably internal application, or maybe they are publishing outside for the external users. So when we talk about application security, a majority of the times customer says that okay, we have an app-aware firewall which
True.
will take care of application
This
security.
is a big misconception.
Absolutely,
Yet
and that's where basically the need of that education factor comes into the
true. Comes into
picture.
the picture.
Because when we talk about those next generation firewalls, even the air-power firewalls, they do not have the capability in order to understand what is going on in a layer 7 traffic like HTTP, HTTPS or FTP, for example. So those firewalls can allow or deny port 80 or 443 maybe, or if I go a bit technical, but those firewalls or those solutions doesn't have the capability in order to understand that what is actually going in within that HTTP response or a request traffic.
Okay.
So that's where the WAF comes into the picture, because when we talk about web application firewall specifically, it is all about layer 7. Okay. So we do have that capability, or any WAF has the capability that can inspect the request and response traffic of HTTP, HTTPS. We actually see that what is going on at layer 7. And for example, let's say if there is any cross-site scripting happening, and if you are only relying on a network firewall, probably that traffic will be allowed to your application, but that network firewall will not have the visibility that okay, there is actually an cross-site scripting attack happening through that request.
Correct.
So that is where WAF comes into the picture, which can identify such kind of malicious request or response, and it has the capability to block it.
Correct.
So when we talk about Barracuda web application firewall, we have defined a new term recently, which is ABC of application security.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I mean, when we talk about application security, and if you look at the threat landscape, let's say specifically post-pandemic, so we are seeing that web-based threat is something which we have been seeing since last more than a decade now,
Yeah.
like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and so on and so forth. But the moment we talk about, let's say, Float API, protection against the bot traffic, because if we talk about bots, 50% of the total internet traffic today is driven by bots.
True.
And there are good bots, there are bad bots.
Bad bots. Yeah.
So good bots is something which probably every business nowadays is using for their business solutions.
True.
But the moment we talk about bad bots, it is counting at 50%. Okay.
Half of the overall
Half
internet
of the
traffic there.
total bot traffic is counting as bad bots.
Yeah, because for the viewers, bots are automated softwares which does certain scraping for marketing purposes, for business intelligence, but there are bots also used to trouble an ongoing application or disturb any businesses, right?
Absolutely.
And you do understand bad bots and you do understand good bots, and you prevent it also.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when it comes to bot protection, again, just a bit of insight in terms of the threat landscape which you are talking about in and around the bot. So we have seen that there are basically 4 generations of bots, and bots has been there in early 90s as well, which were like simple scripts which communicates with your backend application. It was kind of a one-way static communication. But today what we are seeing is like the latest generations of bots, which is like completely driven by AI and ML.
More human.
Yeah. So it's these are the most sophisticated bots which we have ever seen. And it can actually mimic like a human-like behavior.
Even bypass CAPTCHA.
Absolutely. So CAPTCHA is like it's very easy to bypass when we talk about the 4th generation of bots.
Okay.
So when we talk about protecting the bot traffic, and as a matter of fact, if you ask me, if you look at past 5 years of DDoS attack trend which has happened or which the world has ever seen, majority of them were driven by bots.
Okay.
Yeah. And in general, when we talk about application security and when we talk about DDoS, so we have seen that more than 70% of the DDoS attacks is targeting applications nowadays rather than the infrastructure. Because majority of the business are running their business using an application.
True.
And that's where the reputation of the brand, the continuity of the business, everything is at stake.
Everything. For us as an organization dealing in cybersecurity, our website, our portals,
Absolutely.
Our
Even your HRM system,
correct.
for example.
Everything is a service that we are delivering either to our employees or to our
Absolutely.
customers, and any interruption of those services always has a negative impact
Absolutely.
to your business, but also to your reputation.
Yeah.
And that is something I've seen personally, wherein customers have been compromised because of a basic DDoS.
Right.
They talked about WAF and then they backed out about WAF because WAF is such an expensive solution to have. Customers need to invest so much. Is there any way that the cost? So I do understand. So many customers are government,
Yeah.
right? They have their application servers hosted. They would invest on WAF. Perfect. They will look for something that is in-house. There are certain customers who have an hybrid setup. Some may have it on cloud. Some application would be on-prem. So cloud may be Azure or anything else, right? Some may just host it on maybe a just website of the company, right? Hosted on HostGator or anything else.
Absolutely.
So this is a diverse application setup for diverse customers. So when it comes to this, would Barracuda would be able to cater all these three scenarios?
Sure. So basically, when you look at the kind of deployment options which we are providing, so we do have web application firewall or application security available as a physical appliance, as a virtual appliance.
Okay.
We were one of the first player who introduced our majority of the solution, not only application security solutions, on public cloud platform.
And you're the
So-
highest WAF provider on the cloud, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you talk about Azure, when you talk about AWS or GCP for that matter, majority of our solutions are available over there, including our application security portfolio as well.
Okay.
And this is something which is also available as a private cloud offering as well. So if a customer has their own private cloud and they want to deploy a WAF over there, we can help them with that as well, because we do have that available as a virtual appliance.
Okay, so for it caters to all of your customers' deployment
Absolutely.
needs, right?
Absolutely.
Technology is similar, either it is hardware, it is a virtual appliance, or it is on cloud. The technology that is running this or powering this is the same.
Absolutely. So that's the beauty about Barracuda WAF, because
Okay.
when we talk about different deployment options and when we talk about the technology which is being used in the back end, Barracuda as an organization, whatever we are providing is our own technology across the platform. So
Across
it's
the
not
platform.
like
Okay.
if you look at our on-prem WAF versus what we provide on the public cloud platform, these are not two different technologies. This is a single technology which is owned by Barracuda. So the level of security, the kind of solution which you are getting at the end of the day, it remains the same,
Same.
regardless of whichever platform which you are using. And we do support almost all the scenario, whether customer is completely on-prem or they are in the hybrid scenario or they are completely on the cloud. Regardless of wherever their applications are hosted, we can protect those applications.
So all customer scenarios, even if diverse, you can support all of them.
Absolutely.
But now we have seen a trend. Everything as a service, right?
Yeah.
You got the starter was emails, right? Emails went as a service. 365 is now popular, right? We saw endpoint services, cybersecurity as a services. Now WAF as a service. This is something that is gaining popularity, and I know Barracuda is the leading vendor when it comes to WAF as a service.
Right.
So could you shed light to WAF as a service from Barracuda?
So when it comes to, as I said, we do support almost all the deployment options, and WAF as a service is something which is also available from Barracuda.
Okay.
Again, the technology remains the same, and whatever we are providing on-prem, exactly the same solution available as a service to our customers.
Okay.
We are locally hosted here in UAE.
For the WAF?
Yeah, for the WAF. So
okay.
if any customer, let's say they have any data governance requirement or any
Sovereignty
kind
issues.
of compliance requirement, we can help them with that, because we are locally available here.
Okay.
And WAF as a service, as you rightly mentioned, that we have seen that when you have to invest in appliance, when you talk about probably SMB or mid-sized customer, probably it can be a challenge, but at
True.
the same time they want to protect their applications, right?
Because more and more small customers are doing business online,
Absolutely.
and
So that's where WAF as a service is something which is a very attractive proposition which we have in our portfolio, because at the end of the day, as I said, they're going to get the same level of security. But if you look at the kind of deployment options, because we take care of the complete infrastructure, so customer doesn't have to invest in any physical or virtual appliance. and everything is being taken care by Barracuda as from the infrastructure perspective.
Done.
And when we talk about WAF as a service, we do provide full spectrum DDoS mitigation as well.
Okay.
So there are two kinds of DDoS mitigation when it comes to applications. One is application level DDoS, which is happening on layer 7.
Okay.
Attacks like low and slow RAs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But the moment we talk about DDoS attack, volumetric DDoS
Volumetric
attack, and
DDoS.
as I mentioned earlier, that
Yeah.
70% of the volumetric DDoS attacks are targeting applications.
True.
So we do provide unmetered DDoS protection.
This is very important.
Yeah,
This-
with our WAF as a service. So customer doesn't have to worry about, let's say, whether it is a 1 TB attack or whether it is 1 petabyte of DDoS attack. They don't have to worry about it. It's unmetered.
This is something that I've heard as a concern from some partners, and this is something that I've also heard as a good side about Barracuda. So what they said, there are other competitors with Barracuda on WAF which meter all of the aspects.
Absolutely.
So they say, okay, if you want to protect a single application, but the volume of traffic that we can process is this, and this is the prices,
Right.
and the DDoS volume that we can process
It's up to 1 Gbps.
1 GB,
That's
and
the
after
standard,
that
basically.
we won't be doing that. But
Absolutely.
this is what I've seen crazy about Barracuda, right? They say, you let us know what application, how many number of applications you want to protect. We are not keeping you in the amount of bandwidth that will process. We are not keeping you in the amount of DDoS attack that can be prevent. We will. Is it just a promise, or we are doing it?
Absolutely. So why we are able to do that so is because there are two reasons. One, we have seen that majority of the times when you talk about volumetric DDoS attack, I mean, as a customer, you cannot control that. What would be the attack size on your websites or on your web applications? So that's one thing. And second thing is that the kind of infrastructure which we are using is massively scalable. So it doesn't matter what size of attack which you are seeing. We do have ability to protect our customers from those big attacks as well when it comes to DDoS. Another thing which I want to mention is that when it comes to WAF as a service specifically, we have only simple 2 package, which is advanced and premium.
Okay.
So when we talk about why we don't call it basic, because even with the first package, which is advanced, we do provide advanced security when it comes to.
So we don't call anything basic. This is advanced. Whatever you buy, it's advanced.
Even if you look at our advanced package, and if you look at the majority of the customer needs, will be taken care with our advanced package. But if a customer says that I want something additional on top of the advanced package, like machine learning based bot protection, some AI based API protection, then we go for the premium package. Not only the DDoS, but when we talk about our basic or the advanced package, basically, it also includes the full-fledged CDN capability as well. So we don't only take care of the protection of the application, but at the same time, we make sure that if any customer who is publishing their application, which requires, some sort of content delivery network as well, we can include that as a part of the single solution. And when we talk about advanced bot protection, when we talk about API protection, when we talk about DDoS protection, when we talk about CDN, everything is something which is manageable from a single console.
I did read about a very interesting thing. Most of organizations who are using a web application are not aware that they have APIs.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is that because they are not aware, most engineers are having an idea how a TCP protocol or a UDP protocol work, but they don't have an idea how an API calls work.
Absolutely.
And what I read in Barracuda is that if you test the product as a proof of concept, you deploy the product itself lets the customer know that these are the API calls that we have identified.
Absolutely. So basically, when it comes to API security, first of all, as you rightly said, that majority of the customer are not aware that these are the application who are using APIs in the backend. So what we do as Barracuda is that first of all, we help our customers to identify that how many APIs are being used. So we call it as API discovery. So we get into that discovery process with our customers, and once we discover those APIs, then you can protect those APIs, because security starts with visibility.
Visibility. True. Okay.
So if you don't know what you want to protect, you cannot protect it. Okay,
100%.
it's a blind spot for you. So we do provide our customers the ability to discover that how many APIs are being used for the applications which you are protecting, and then you can protect that. When it comes to application API protection, for example, so like web protection, we do provide complete comprehensive API security. It's not that it's just a feature set
Yes,
for
I-
sake of it,
Oh.
which you are providing with our WAF, but it is a full-fledged API security. So we
Okay.
take care of API protocol security, we take care of SSL TLS security, we take care of API protocol security,
Okay.
including the DDoS part of
Okay.
API,
Okay.
and including the bot protection for the APIs.
Both specifically for the API based traffic.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Now here we have something interesting as well. Now whenever we most of the time when we talk about applications, right, load balancer comes into picture, right? Most of the WAF vendors traditionally had a load balancer which they
Right.
added to the portfolio, right, or to the BOQ. But now what we have seen, WAF as a service. The customers did ask us question that where is the load balancing part?
Absolutely. So Barracuda WAF or WAF as a service comes by default with the load balancing functionality.
Okay.
So as a customer, let's say if you want to load balance traffic between multiple servers or multiple data centers,
Okay.
that is something which is available with both WAF on-premise as well as WAF as a service.
Okay.
On top of that, when it comes to WAF as a service, we also provide the certificates from Barracuda. So we do have integration with a certificate authority called Let's Encrypt.
Let's encrypt.
So if customer wants to onboard their own certificate, they can do that. But if a customer says that I don't have any certificate, Barracuda can basically provide or secure that front end
None.
by providing the certificate
Certificate
on
part.
our own.
True. Because this is very important. This has been asked by us, by many customers,
Right.
because WAF as a service is a proposition not just for an enterprise, it's for also small and medium organizations.
Right.
And most of the time they don't understand the value of certificate.
Absolutely.
And many customers did ask. So we deliver it directly based on the subscription.
Absolutely.
And about this load balancer, do we as customer have to additionally subscribe for something when going for WAF as a service for load balancer?
So when we talk about WAF as a service, it's, as I said, just two
bundles.
packages which we have.
Okay.
We only care about which feature set which you want
Okay.
from advanced or premium.
Okay.
If a customer says that I want to go with advanced,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Whatever feature set is available there in advance, including, I mean, as I said, CDN, unmetered DDoS protection. Load balancing is something which is like a very basic functionality
Okay.
which you provide with all the packages.
All the packages.
Yeah. So when you talk about Barracuda and when you talk about subscription, we made it very simple for our customers because, as I said, our vision has to be, providing solutions which are easy to buy, easy to deploy,
True.
and easy to manage. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no complexity in terms of the subscription. Like there are not 10 different subscription which you have to enroll for
True.
if you want a specific feature set.
True.
Okay. So that's something which is from the simplicity perspective that, and it has been since last more than 2 decades now,
Yeah.
that whatever solutions which are providing, we made it very straightforward for our customers. Easy to buy, easy to deploy, easy to use.
You've not seen the crazy vendors. I've
Yeah.
seen for everything they need something to be added. And when we quote 2 line items, they would be quoting 15 line items for the same features. I've
Absolutely.
seen that. And which actually increase the confusion in terms of what, why, and how customers get confused. Now, there is something revolutionary that is also happening right now. Right, when I started my journey in cybersecurity, 365 was something that was coming in place,
Right.
promising all of the customers that your on-prem exchange requires you to have archiving, it requires you to have backup, and all those stuff. Going to cloud will avoid this problem. Availability would be assured, data would be retained. That is our responsibility.
Right.
But now, shockingly, what we have started to hear in the last 1.5 year, a backup for 365.
Absolutely. So before we move into that topic, I just forgot to mention that when it comes to a WAF as service, and since I was mentioning about no need of having subscriptions for each and everything. We don't charge our customers for the bandwidth as well.
Yeah, true.
So it's unmetered
Unmetered.
bandwidth as well. So
True.
regardless of, let's say, you need 200 Mbps throughput or you need 1 Gbps of throughput, it doesn't matter for us.
100%.
Okay.
Perfect.
Coming to the need of a cloud backup for O365. So O365 is something which we have seen that across the globe there has been a massive adoption of O365 platform. If you ask me today, probably 90% plus emails, business emails, are on O365.
True.
Okay. So now organizations have started moving to O365, but they never realized that there are a lot of data which you are putting on that IaaS platform, which is O365. And there has been a misconception that, when we are on O365, everything is responsibility of Microsoft.
Microsoft, yeah.
We don't have any responsibility whatsoever.
True.
But that is again a myth, because if you look at Microsoft, they are infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure of O365 is something which is responsibility of Microsoft. But the moment we talk about the data which you put on that is responsibility of customer. So again, the story of that SAD, security model or SAD model with those kind of infrastructure as a service provider. So, and even if you look at Microsoft service level agreement with their customers, they clearly mention under section 6B that infrastructure or availability of the infrastructure of O365 will be responsibility of Microsoft. But whatever you are putting on that platform is solely your responsibility. We are not liable for that.
But there is a question, that emails are there, my OneDrive files are there. Okay, even if I delete it, there is some amount of retention that I get. Then why backup?
Right. So if you look at the retention policy which Microsoft provides for emails, the maximum retention which you get is 30 days.
30 days on email.
Yeah.
Non-extendable with prices, nothing.
Absolutely.
It's 30 days. Okay.
And if you delete something on OneDrive or SharePoint, the maximum retention which you can get is 93 days. So once the data is gone, it's gone for good. So Microsoft holds no responsibility of the deleted data. Maybe it can be intentional, it can be a human error, whatsoever it is. This is the maximum retention period which you get from Microsoft. And that's why the mature you get with O365 platform, you will realize that as an organization, we have a lot of data over there.
Yeah, we have seen that. A very good comment that I came across when I was speaking to customers was his realization that he said that when I moved to O365 in 2018, right, we had a file server on premise.
Right.
Everything was backed up. We had auditing, everything in place. But when we moved to O365, people were using it. But slowly what we found that people were using OneDrive more. We had no visibility of what files they are.
Right.
Second thing, we had no visibility when they are adding or deleting it, and we had no backup.
Absolutely.
And he said this is our biggest pain point.
Right. So that is something which is again as a comprehensive solution from email protection. And you might have noticed that whenever we talk about emails, Barracuda never talks about security of email, but rather we talk about protection of the email. So when we talk about email, it's a 360-degree comprehensive protection which you provide, not only securing your email from the advanced threats, but also anything and everything which is related to emails, like archiving solution, like backup solution. So when we talk about, let's say, OneDrive or SharePoint, which you just mentioned, it is kind of a shared platform, right? Probably thousands of users within the organizations are accessing it, which is a shared platform. So you don't have any control that who is uploading what and how it is being used, what kind of content is being uploaded, and what is the impact of having that shared platform in the environment. So as a part of the email security, again, we have something called data classification for OneDrive and SharePoint. So whatever data which you're putting on those shared platform, we can actually give you that visibility that, okay, for example, let's say tomorrow if one of the employee within the organization take a balance sheet of the company and they upload it on the OneDrive, which is being accessed by 1,000 users.
Okay.
Or maybe some credit card information, okay,
True.
which is like a PII, okay.
True.
Maybe some passport which they create a link to share with someone, and it is publicly available. So
Correct.
this kind of information actually should not go out of the organization,
Yeah.
and that's where it is again a blind spot. So you don't have any control with those shared platform. That's where our data classification tool, which we provide as a part of our email protection,
Is also a very
it
useful.
also something which customer can leverage on. And
Perfect.
again, as I said, we cover all the blind spots which customer may think of
that's
when it comes to email protection.
So yeah, so let us distinguish over here. So you said we have something that will give you visibility on what has been uploaded, whether the uploaded data is sensitive or whether the uploaded data is malicious. We will let you know. Second thing, you said you back up the mails, the OneDrive, the SharePoint, and even Teams, right?
Absolutely.
The 4 components of M365 subscription is covered.
So these are the major components, I would say, of O365, and we take care of all 4 of them.
Okay.
The beauty about the Barracuda Cloud to Cloud backup is that when it comes to a backup solution, the major concern for any customer is the storage.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a backup solution, but how scalable it is? What is the investment which you're going to make when you want to scale it in terms of the storage perspective?
Yeah.
So with Barracuda Cloud to Cloud backup, we made it very easy for the customer,
Okay.
because we do provide unlimited storage.
You guys are unmetered and unlimited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So unlimited storage and unlimited retention. That means customer doesn't have to worry about that whether I want to keep this data for 2 years. There are some important data which I want to keep for 5 years.
Okay.
There is some audit requirement for which I need to keep the data for 7 years.
Right.
Nothing like that. Single retention policy which is forever.
Okay. So we will summarize this. This is very much right. So for any customer, let us assume a customer has 100 subscriptions of M365. Yeah. So for him to have a cloud to cloud backup, he needs to purchase 100 subscriptions of cloud to cloud backup,
Right.
by which he can back up all the 4 components:
Absolutely.
email, Teams, OneDrive, and SharePoint.
Right.
And all of these 4 components that he backs up has unlimited retention and storage capability.
Absolutely. So when I say unlimited, it doesn't come with any condition.
Perfect.
So unlimited means unlimited.
No fair use policy, nothing like that.
Absolutely no. So
Perfect.
whether
So long
you-
subscription is valid, keep
you
on.
can keep on adding the data on top of that.
Okay,
And when
now-
you say 100 users, so let's say tomorrow there is some movement in terms of the user, maybe few users left the organization, you can actually use those licenses for the new users.
New users.
And at the same time, we don't delete the data for the old users.
Perfect. So now one more thing I would like to understand over here in cloud to cloud backup. We are working in Middle East. No,
Right.
Matter of fact, in any region or any country, they are very specific about where actually the sovereignty is very big concern, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Whatever backup solution they look forward, the reason why they purchase on-premise storage or other storage things is because they want to make the data local.
Right.
So when it comes to Barracuda cloud to cloud backup, customer may have gone to 365,
Right.
but when we are performing a backup of 365, he may not be comfortable that the data would leave the region. So where is the data actually been stored?
So basically, we use Azure as an infrastructure
Okay.
for our cloud to cloud backup, and that's the reason we are able to provide unlimited storage.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, of course, it's a Barracuda cloud, but
Okay.
we use Azure as an infrastructure.
Okay.
So if you ask me about the data location or where we are storing the data, we have somewhere around 20 plus data centers across the globe,
Across the globe,
where
okay.
we store cloud to cloud backup data.
Okay.
We do have one available here in UAE as well.
Okay. So that means it is in our region. One of
Absolutely,
that is in our
absolutely.
region. Okay.
So any customer again who has any requirement from the compliance perspective, from the data governance perspective,
Okay.
that data should be locally here in UAE, we can help those customers as well. And as a matter of fact, we are increasing the number of presence in terms of the data centers across the globe. So right now it's probably 20 plus at the moment,
Okay.
and we are keep on adding on top of that.
That is very important because what I've I've gone through some other competition of vendors, and I've seen none of them have a local data center.
Absolutely.
That is very important point for our solution over
Right.
here. Perfect.
So that's something which we have been investing heavily in terms of the data center.
Okay.
Not only with cloud to cloud backup, but for WAF as a service as well. So again, if
Okay.
you ask me, WAF as a service, the point of presence which we have is probably 20 plus, and WAF as a service is something which is a totally containerized environment. So it's not like that we are keeping big appliances, and from there we are serving multiple customers. Let's say ABC as an organization comes to us and says that I want WAF as service. It is actually a dedicated container for them.
Okay, so it's not shared between them. It's a
Absolutely.
dedicated container for that particular customer.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And on top of that, we can also provide WAF as a service for customers' private data centers, or maybe on Azure Stack, for example, as a container,
okay.
and they can use it as a service. So no need to deploy, virtual appliances. If a customer says that I want to secure my containers itself, we can provide container security as well.
Perfect. Crazy. No amount of time would be enough for us to discuss everything.
Absolutely.
So there is one thing that I've been asking my guest today. What is next? What is next that is gonna happen in the coming few months? That is revolutionary changes that you're gonna add to your current portfolio. Or to your
So
product.
basically, when we talk about email security, for example, so email security is something where we have dual approach. One is we protect the email from the gateway perspective,
Yeah.
where customer change their MX record, we filter the email, and the clean email sends back to the mail server.
Okay.
And we do have another approach which is completely API driven, which is a completely AI and ML based engine, which is for advanced threat prevention. When I say advanced threat prevention, attack surface like CEO fraud, like conversation hijacking, lateral
Okay.
phishing, spear phishing, or targeted spear phishing. So these are the attacks does require some sort of specialized treatment,
Done.
and that is where our AI engine comes into the picture. So
Okay.
we have dual approach, as I said. We filter the majority of the noise of the spam, viruses, grayware, malware, even zero day on the gateway itself. But when we talk about those specialized attacks, we do have inbox defense, which
Okay.
integrates with O365, and we do some sort of machine learning and AI, which is being applied on those emails, where we cannot basically define those emails as a malicious email, because it doesn't have any kind of links or any kind of attachment, which
True.
basically says that it is a malicious email.
Okay.
But the damage starts when you start reacting to those emails.
Correct.
So
Just
that's
just
where-
formal text emails
Absolutely.
making you to do something.
For example, a CEO of the organization sending an email to
Make a payment.
finance
Yeah.
department to make a payment.
Yeah.
So, but actually, CEO is not sending that email.
100%, because the audience need to understand, because when an email does not have any links or attachment but text making you to take an action, malicious action,
Absolutely.
that is something very difficult to identify, and
So-
that's where we need advanced.
So that's where the behavior analysis comes into the picture, which is completely driven by AI.
Done.
So that is something which we have. AI and ML we have been using extensively for our email security. But what we are going to do, right, as the next phase of email security, we are going to include that AI and ML on the gateway as well.
So that what you mean is, by currently, as I understand, I've done certain deployments. So we have two integration, as you said. One is the MX based bound based
Right.
scanning. The another one is the API integration that we do with our 365.
Right.
Right. So now you're gonna say that this integration would not be needed, because we can do that API and ML based protection on the MX based changes itself, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. So basically, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to make the gateway more intelligent
More intelligent.
by adding some sort of AI and ML over
Okay.
that. So we do have like thousands of classifiers already available on our AI engine. So we are going to make use of that, and we are going to add it on the gateway itself.
Okay.
So let's say what happens is that today, if you want to block something on the gateway, you have to do a lot of fine tuning from
True.
the policy perspective.
Yeah.
You have to alter the filters every day. Like, for example, if an organization of size of 1,000 users, 1,000 mailboxes, if you take on an average, count of emails, every employee will be sending and receiving at least 10 emails.
You should see the whitelisting and blacklisting that each customer.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
So we are talking about, let's say, on an average 10,000 emails on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it is being managed by probably 1 or 2 admins.
True.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot of manual work. So we are going to add that intelligence using AI and ML on the gateway itself.
Okay.
So using those classifiers, we can actually make use of those platform where it can automatically adapt those policies,
Okay.
where which kind of emails is coming at the gateway itself, and based on that, those classifiers, those AI engine, it can basically classify that, okay, this is a good email or a bad email, rather taking the email all the way to your inbox and then they're blocking it.
They're
using
blocking
the
it.
AI.
Okay. Perfect.
So that is something which is coming up
Perfect.
very soon, and probably we are one of the first vendor who are going to introduce a use of AI
Yeah.
on the gateway.
True, because most vendors are doing the API method, integrating with 365 and doing it on the inbox level.
So there are two kinds of segment. One is only gateway, one is only API.
API,
But
correct.
we do have both
Both of
approach,
it.
and at the same time we are making this approach at the gateway more intelligent, so that our customers can leverage AI on the gateway itself.
100%.
Yeah.
Any plans for conversation restoration on Teams? This is something that has been asked by.
Well, right now what we do is we do take care of restoration of the Teams, but when we talk about the chat,
Conversation. Yeah.
the chat history is something which is in the roadmap. Probably it
Perfect.
will be available in next few weeks.
Yeah.
So customer would be able to restore their individual chats as well to
Perfect.
their O365 account. So it is something which is, I would say, work in progress. We are very close to that,
Okay.
and we are working extensively with Microsoft in order to make it happen.
Perfect.
So as I said, in next about few weeks we are going to launch that as well.
Because this is something that has been discussed by customers and partners.
Absolutely, and
And-
that's something which has been a priority for us as well
Yeah.
in the roadmap. So when it comes to Barracuda, we believe in innovations, and we keep upgrading ourselves or enhancing ourselves, our solutions in such a way that it is still relevant to the use cases of the customers.
Perfect.
And this is something which we will keep doing it for the next years to come.
Hope next year we would have a even bigger
Absolutely.
conversation, new technologies to discuss.
Sure.
You've been a great guest. I have a small token of my thanks. I know you like.
Thanks a lot.
So
Thank you very much.
this is personally I've read, and I thought this would be something that you can read. Okay.
Amazing. Thank
So
you very
thank
much.
you once again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you
Hope
very
we had a
much.
great discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.